Alright, let's talk about all this LeBron trade talk. Is there any real validity behind it, real reporting, or is it just purely speculation and ESPN trying to get clicks? And well, that kind of is the main propaganda and where it's coming from. Brian Windhorst of ESPN talking about it, Dave McMenamin of ESPN talking about it, though I guess they're not the only ones here. Other reporters like Cleveland Cavaliers reporters are definitely talking about it, saying that there might in fact be some interest, but maybe not through a trade, only through a contract buyout. Other reporters saying that the Lakers actually want to trade LeBron, and if they could, they would. If you don't know, he has a no trade clause, so they can't trade him even if they want to. It would be entirely on LeBron here. Unless LeBron wants to be traded, unless LeBron would find the team that wants to trade for him and he would want to go to that team, they literally can't trade him, so keep that in mind here. And in regard to the Cleveland Cavaliers, they are a second apron team, and if you have no idea what that is or what I'm talking about here, with the new CBA, there is both a first apron and a second apron, and if you're in fact over that second apron, you are pretty much in salary cap hell. You can't take back money through a trade, you can't trade multiple players in the same trade or in any trade for that fact, you can't sign buyout market players that made over the non-taxpayer mid-level exception, and a bunch of other rules that really prohibit you from upgrading your team and kind of making any real transaction to your team too. So in regard to Cleveland, no, it wouldn't be impossible per se, but it definitely would be very difficult. Pretty much having to do a complete team turnover to get LeBron James, a 40-year-old LeBron James. So do they want to do that? Probably not in my opinion, probably not the most likely option, but then again, LeBron's kind of hinting at it and kind of hinting at maybe wanting to go back to Cleveland or simply being very appreciative of Cleveland. So we'll talk about that and if there's any other team that might actually try to make a trade for him. If of course he would want to be traded and if you'd okay the trade too. As again, he does have a no trade clause. So we'll talk about that and if there's even a likelihood that he would be traded or want to be traded. But again, talk about if any team even would trade for him, which I think there actually might be one. I only see one team that's both shown interest in the past in him, and a team that would probably still be interested in the present, that team being the Golden State Warriors. After all, we've heard about them trying to trade for him, contacting the Lakers about it, and if he would be available in any trade talk. They got shut down last time, but I guess who knows. If LeBron would want to be traded, if LeBron and the Lakers don't want to go forward, then the Warriors might be a legitimate team that actually is under the second apron and would have the assets and simply the salary to make it work. I mean, maybe a combination of Draymond Green, Moses Moody, Buddy Hield, that could actually work for them and probably wouldn't take a whole lot of draft compensation given the fact that LeBron's about to retire and probably has only 1 or 2 years left. Maybe a guy like Jimmy Butler, would they do that swap? Who knows. Not going to get too much into it, but simply showing the fact that it could work and they probably would do it if LeBron would actually want to be traded. Again, I personally don't see it happening. I don't really think LeBron wants to be traded. He might kind of play the media games and apply pressure that he normally does to the teams that he plays for in the offseason. I don't think the Lakers truly want to trade him. I think there is some disconnect between them at the moment and a little bit of tension, but I don't think it'll come down to a trade. Though I will admit that there is real speculation going on from actual reporters, not only from Brian Windhorst, but even Dave McMenamin saying that he's heard about 4 teams that have contacted the Lakers about a trade for LeBron if they would want to go that route. And here's a quick clip of it.
He has not had any discussion with the Lakers about wanting a trade on the back end of this statement. He did say that 4 teams have contacted him in the last 24 hours wanting to talk trades, but Rich didn't have any substantive conversations with those teams either. Right now, LeBron is focused on playing on a championship caliber roster. Rich told me, there's no guarantees in building a championship caliber roster, but we know what it looks like and what it doesn't look like. And we'll see if in a week from now, when Rob Pelinka is finished doing his work with this roster, if it looks like a winning, realistic situation.
But again, I don't see it happening. I don't think the Lakers will trade him. I don't think LeBron truly wants to be traded, and I don't think he'll end up coming to that. And well, a whole bunch of the chatter recently about it anyway is coming from Brian Windhorst of ESPN. Earlier today saying, quote unquote, "I'm not as convinced as before that it's an impossibility." Talking about the possibility of the Lakers trading LeBron, that a team would actually trade for him, and with the current relationship between them. And here's what he had to say about it.
Over the last 3 days, I have unlocked the door. I wouldn't say that I'm opening the door. I would just say I've unlocked the door. The door I slammed and locked on Sunday, I'm not 100% sure. And that is because my conversations over the last 3 days have crystallized that the Lakers are essentially viewing LeBron as an expiring contract. And that may sound like a toss-off statement, but that's not insignificant. LeBron has never been an expiring contract, quite literally. Never in his 23-year career, over the 9 contracts he's signed, over all the different teams he's been on, he's never been on the last year of his contract. He's never been 40 years old. He's never not been the franchise player on his team. The Lakers and LeBron, whoever wants to spin their side of the story, I'm not sure what happened, but the Lakers and LeBron did not have substantive discussions about extending his contract, which every team LeBron's been on for 20-something years has wanted to have substantive conversations about extending his contract. And what happens to expiring contracts in the NBA? They're viewed as trade pieces. So, for all those reasons, the money, the fact that LeBron and Luka are still a very formidable duo, the fact that the Lakers are not done with their offseason, the fact that trading him is crazy, the fact that this is being built around Luka and they've got to maintain their cap sheet, and all of those things, everything that makes sense. But I'm just unlocking the door because I'm not as convinced as before of its impossibility.
I'm not taking a whole lot away from the speculation talk there, what Brian Windhorst simply has a hunch about or what might not happen with it. But if there is anything of quality information there, I think he did point out a good point with the extension talk. The fact that there has been no extension talk. The Lakers apparently have not came to LeBron and offered him an extension, weren't even really talking to him about it with the player option that he did opt into. That was simply LeBron here, not the Lakers. Not them telling him to opt out of the contract and then re-up with a brand new 1-year contract plus the 1-year player option, which he has done for quite some time now with their team. And there's really been nothing about that. No new contract talk, and their relationship and everything between them is really up in the air right now, which is why everything currently feels so tense. I've seen many fans kind of joking about it feeling like an old married couple, which at this point it kind of is. They're going on 8 years together now, and that's nearly a decade and one of the longest stops of LeBron's entire career. Really a weird feeling, but we are at that point. LeBron's 40, nearing retirement, but not sure when that might come, and the Lakers are moving in a different direction, finally not prioritizing him as their number 1 option and the guy they're definitively building around, which has to be a very weird and different feeling for LeBron. I mean, yes, people have said, and even the Lakers said, that they're building around Anthony Davis at one time. I think we all know that wasn't entirely true, and they never quite felt that way. It always was LeBron. He was always their 1A option, the guy they're truly building around, and the guy the most control of any player on their team. But now with Luka Doncic, a generational player in his own right, a definitive top 10 if not top 5 NBA player, currently in the prime of his NBA career unlike LeBron, or Anthony Davis for that fact. So it's definitely a different situation for LeBron now than really he's ever been in before. I mean, he kind of felt it back in Cleveland with Kyrie Irving, playing with a much younger player and a guy that wasn't even in his prime quite yet. Maybe could be the guy to take the reins over after he left, which obviously didn't become true and Kyrie requested a trade, but it's simply not the same thing. Not comparable to that, now to a much higher level with Luka Doncic. The Lakers are legitimately building around him, and no longer LeBron or prioritizing him for that fact too. And according to a report from Chris Haynes, Rich Paul talked to him and said that LeBron has no desire to go anywhere, but he does want to be prioritized in terms of still winning in the present. So again, the word prioritized here, LeBron wants to be prioritized and kind of built around in some way. Yes, he understands that Luka is now their top priority and that they're going in a younger direction, but he still does want to be a part of it too. Not saying that's a bad thing, not saying that he's wrong for doing that, but it's kind of the disconnect that I feel between them. LeBron still wanting to feel prioritized and be at the top of that, and the Lakers simply aren't wanting to be in that direction with him anymore. LeBron's still wanting to feel prioritized, and although the Lakers do prioritize him to some degree, not to the level that LeBron currently wants to be. That's kind of how I interpret it and the way they currently feels between them in my opinion. So with that in mind here and kind of bringing up the Cleveland Cavaliers before, would a team actually trade for him and would the Lakers trade for him? Another thing that Brian Windhorst mentioned there, the fact that he is an expiring contract and expiring contracts do tend to get traded, but we have to acknowledge the fact that LeBron won't go anywhere unless LeBron wants to go somewhere. he does have a no trade clause after all, one of the very few around the NBA. Other than Bradley Beal and himself, I'm not sure there actually is another one. So he does have complete control over any and every trade that would come their way or his way for that fact. And well, again with the Cleveland thing, many pointing that, hey, maybe he might retire or want to retire in Cleveland, play out the final season with them, and with them kind of being one piece away in a very weak Eastern Conference, maybe that could be the best route for him to take. However, there are some major problems with that, the first of which being that Cleveland is currently a second apron team, so unless you're talking about a very complicated 3 or 4 team trade, and I'm not even sure that would be possible with them because again they are a second apron team, unless I guess they would salary dump a guy like Darius Garland or somebody with a big salary to a different team, purely salary dump them and get below that second apron, they cannot make a trade for LeBron. And even doing that would completely destroy their current core. Might it be worth it? Maybe, but I don't see it happening and I don't think it will happen. Reports saying that they don't even have major interest in LeBron. In fact, there even is a report that says the Cavaliers are not that interested in LeBron James per Kurt Helin of NBC Sports. So with that in mind, and despite LeBron kind of playing into it, if you want to interpret it that way, wearing a welcome home hat earlier on the golf course, some people saying that's him maybe wanting to go back to Cleveland or want to trade to their team, it really can't happen. Both from the fact that it's not realistic, and again from the CBA, the second apron that the Cavaliers are currently over, really not a possibility for their team. But with all of that being said, what do you guys think? How do you feel about the LeBron situation? Do you think he actually is unhappy with the team and might actually want to be traded? Or is he simply applying a bit more pressure and trying to get them to prioritize him a bit more for what might be his final NBA season? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. But I think that'll pretty much do it for this one. And if you enjoyed the video, then I'll greatly appreciate it if you dropped a like, subscribe to the channel if you have not already, and hit that notification bell to never miss out when I upload a video. But as always, thank you for watching and have a great day or night.